Welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to explore a colorful part of the English language, idioms and phrases that use colors. Colors are not just for describing what you see. In English, they are also used in common expressions to describe emotions, actions, and even situations. For example, if someone says, "I'm feeling blue," it doesn't mean they are actually turning blue. It means they are feeling sad. Why is this important? Learning these color idioms will help you understand everyday conversations and make your English sound more natural. Plus, idioms are a fun way to add creativity and style to your speech. In this episode, we'll look at idioms that use 4 colors: red, green, blue, and black and white. You'll learn what these idioms mean, hear simple explanations, and practice using them in sentences. Are you ready to add some color to your English? Let's begin with idioms that use the color red. The color red often makes us think of strong emotions, like anger, love, or even danger. In English, there are many idioms with the color red, and they all have interesting meanings. The first one is seeing red. If someone says, "I'm seeing red," it means they are very, very angry. Imagine a bull in a bullfight. When it sees a red flag, it charges. That's how this idiom works. It's about being so angry you can't think clearly. Here's an example. When John found out his phone was stolen, he was seeing red. This means John was extremely angry. The next idiom is caught red-handed. If someone is caught red-handed, it means they were caught in the act of doing something wrong. It's like catching a thief with their hands still in the cookie jar. Here's an example. The boy was caught red-handed taking money from his sister's wallet. That means he was seen doing it. There was no way for him to deny it. Now, let's talk about red tape. Red tape refers to complicated rules or processes, usually from the government or official places. It comes from the old days when important papers were tied together with red ribbon. If there's a lot of red tape, it means things are slow and difficult because of too many rules. Here's an example. I wanted to start my own business, but there was so much red tape that it took months to get permission. Let's review the 3 idioms we learned. Seeing red, to be very angry. Caught red-handed, to be caught doing something wrong. Red tape, complicated and slow rules or processes. These idioms are common in English, so you'll hear them often in conversations, movies, or books. Next, we'll move on to the color green, and you'll learn idioms about nature, growth, and even jealousy. Green is a color that often makes us think of nature, growth, and plants. But in English, it can also be connected to feelings like jealousy or inexperience. The first idiom is green with envy. If someone says, "I'm green with envy," it means they are very jealous of someone or something. Imagine a person turning green because they want what someone else has. That's the picture this idiom creates. Here's an example. When Sarah saw her friend's new car, she was green with envy. That means Sarah really wanted a car like her friends. The next idiom is a green thumb. If someone has a green thumb, it means they are very good at gardening. They know how to take care of plants, and everything they grow seems to thrive. Here's an example. My grandmother has a green thumb. Her garden is full of beautiful flowers and vegetables. So if you're good with plants, you have a green thumb. The last idiom is, the grass is always greener on the other side. This idiom means that people often think someone else's life or situation is better than their own, but really it might not be true. It just looks that way from far away. Here's an example. He quit his job because he thought another company would be better, but now he regrets it. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. This idiom is a good reminder to appreciate what you already have. Let's review the 3 green idioms. Green with envy, to feel very jealous. A green thumb, to be good at gardening. The grass is always greener on the other side, thinking someone else's situation is better than yours, even if it's not. Green is a color of growth, but it can also remind us to be happy with what we have. Next, we'll look at idioms with the color blue. You'll hear how this color is used to describe sadness, surprise, and things that don't happen very often. Let's begin with the idiom, feeling blue. If someone says, I'm feeling blue, it means they are feeling sad or a little down. The color blue here is used to show sadness, like a cloudy or rainy day. Here's an example. He was feeling blue after his best friend moved to another city. This means he felt sad because his friend left. The next idiom is out of the blue. If something happens out of the blue, it means it happens suddenly and unexpectedly. Imagine a clear blue sky, and suddenly there's a big storm. Something surprising comes out of nowhere. Here's an example. I hadn't heard from her in years, but then, out of the blue, she sent me a message. That means the message was completely unexpected. Now let's talk about once in a blue moon. If something happens once in a blue moon, it means it happens very rarely. A blue moon is a rare event when there's a second full moon in 1 month. So, if something happens once in a blue moon, it's almost as rare as that. Here's an example. My uncle lives far away, so I only see him once in a blue moon. That means I don't see him very often. Let's review the 3 idioms. Feeling blue, to feel sad. Out of the blue, something that happens suddenly and unexpectedly. Once in a blue moon, something that happens very rarely. These idioms show how one color can describe so many different situations, from sadness to surprise. Now, let's explore idioms with black and white, 2 colors that are often used to talk about clarity, rules, and contrasts. Let's start with the idiom, black and white. If something is black and white, it means it is very clear and easy to understand. There is no confusion or doubt. It's either one thing or the other. For example, the rules are black and white. If you're late, you can't take the test. This means the rules are very clear and cannot be argued. The next idiom is the black sheep. If someone is called the black sheep, it means they are different from the rest of their family or group. The phrase comes from the idea of a black sheep standing out in a flock of white sheep. It's often used to talk about someone who doesn't fit in. Here's an example. In a family of doctors and lawyers, she's the black sheep because she became an artist. This means she chose a very different path from the rest of her family. Now let's talk about the idiom, in black and white. If something is in black and white, it means it is written down clearly, like in a contract or on paper. For example, make sure you get the agreement in black and white so there's no confusion later. This means you should have the agreement written down so everyone knows exactly what it says. Let's review the idioms we learned. Black and white, something very clear and easy to understand. The black sheep, someone who is different from the rest of the group. In black and white, something written down clearly like on paper. These idioms are simple, but they show how we use colors to describe clarity, differences, and certainty. Now, let's wrap up the episode with a quick review and some final thoughts. That brings us to the end of today's episode of Blooming English. We explored how colors are used in idioms to express emotions, actions, and situations in creative and interesting ways. Let's quickly review what we learned. With red, we had seeing red, to be very angry. Caught red-handed, to be caught doing something wrong. Red tape, complicated and slow rules or processes. With green, we looked at green with envy, to feel very jealous. A green thumb, to be good at gardening. The grass is always greener on the other side, to think someone else's situation is better. For blue, we learned feeling blue, to feel sad. Out of the blue, something sudden and unexpected. Once in a blue moon, something that happens very rarely. And finally, with black and white, we had black and white, something very clear and easy to understand. The black sheep, someone who is different from the group. In black and white, something written down clearly, like on paper. Idioms like these make English more colorful and fun. Try using one of these expressions in your conversations this week. For example, you could say, I feel blue today, or I haven't seen her in a blue moon. If you want to learn more, join us online for lessons, self-study materials, and other resources. Let's help your English bloom.